Well, sinners and saints. Today we're going to talk about JonBenet Ramsey. They discovered her body on December 26, 1996, and it chilled the community to the bone, and this case quickly captured the attention of the nation. Today it remains one of the country's most high-profile unsolved crimes, and the details surrounding JonBenet Ramsey's death spurred many books, documentaries, and TV specials. Some highlighted facts and others highlighted opinions. There's a summary that's of the past 26 years of investigations, heartbreak, suspicions, media, frenzies, and unanswered questions. On December 6, JonBenet Ramsey, age 6, was found dead in the basement of her parents' home, which was along the 700 block of 15th Street in Boulder, Colorado. The child beauty queen had died the previous night but was not found until the following morning. Her father, John Ramsey, found her body about 8 hours after her mother, Patsy Ramsey, said that she discovered a ransom note demanding $118,000. They initially believed that she had been kidnapped and called 911, even though the note said if they called the police, their daughter would die. Police arrived and the investigation began. However, they did not properly secure the scene. Hours went by and police filed out, leaving just one detective who recommended John Ramsey search the house for clues. I think we all understand how ignorant that was. He found his daughter in the basement. He stated, "I knew instantly what I found. I found my daughter. She was lying on a white blanket. The blanket was wrapped around her. Her hands were tied above her head. She had tape over her mouth. I immediately knelt down over her, felt her cheek, took the tape off immediately of her mouth. I tried to untie the cord that was around her arms, and I could not get the knot untied." At 10:45, the Boulder Police coroner staff removed JonBenet Ramsey's body from the house. On December 31st, 1996, JonBenet Ramsey was buried in Marietta, Georgia, which is the Ramseys' hometown. She was buried next to her half-sister, who was killed in a car crash in 1992. January 1st, 1997, the Ramsey parents pleaded on the CNN for help finding the murderer of their daughter, and Patsy Ramsey said, "There's a killer on the loose." It was the first time that they went and made a public comment on this case. A Boulder Police Department detective leaves the home of John and Patricia Ramsey in this January 3rd file, like the police file, in Boulder, Colorado. March 13th, 1997, it was announced that the retired Colorado Springs Police Department Detective Lou Smith will join the Boulder team working on the case. He worked the case from March 9, 1997 through September 1998. That AP reported on evidence that he had indicated an intruder likely broke in and killed the young girl. Faint markings on the suitcase under a broken basement window and on the wall under the window might be footprints. Smith theorized an intruder might have put his foot against the wall to steady himself while crawling through the window. There's a peanut-shaped foam packing material and leaves found in the basement that might have been trapped inside from entering through the broken basement window. Fibers on the metal baseball bat found outside of the Ramsey's home matched a carpet found in the basement near the storage room where JonBenet's body was found. DNA evidence from JonBenet's fingernails were good for that too. And underpants indicated her attacker was a male. Marks on her face and back could have been from a stun gun. We'll get to that. The Proho County coroner Michael Robertson said that after examining Smith's photos of the wounds, he agreed that a stun gun might have been used to screw the girl. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you also, I found evidence of where it could have been those little racetracks that you race the little cars on. You mash the button and they race around through there. If you take them apart, they have the same distance and markings as those that was found on her body. I'm not saying that the brother did it. He's the only one I think without a doubt that I don't think did it. Boulder Police Chief Mark Beckner noted that there is evidence contradicting the use of a stun gun. Smith died from cancer in August of 2010. On April 18, 1997, then Boulder District Attorney Alex Hunter publicly identified John and Patsy Ramsey as the focus of the investigation. The couple maintained their innocence. June 1997, the Ramsey family moved out of the Boulder home and into a house in the suburbs of Atlanta. July 14, 1997, according to portions of JonBenet Ramsey's autopsy report, released in July 1997, her skull was fractured by a vicious blow to the head, and she may have been sexually assaulted before being strangled. She had one ligature around her neck and one around her right wrist, and there was small amounts of dry blood, bruising, and abrasions in her vaginal area, according to the autopsy. And 8.5 inch or 8.5 inch fracture ran the length of her right side of her head. She also had bruises and abrasions on her shoulders, legs, feet. More of the autopsy was published on August 13, 1997, where authorities said the young girl was found on the basement's living room floor with her arms extended out and her head turned to the side. Her body was covered with a blanket and the Colorado Avalanche sweatshirt. A black synthetic cord was wrapped around her neck, and another length of cord was loosely tied around the right wrist over her sleeve of her knit shirt. The autopsy report stated, according to the AP. This might be a two-part thing because we'll go over, all the information, and then I'll do a second part on the suspects because there was one gentleman that knew that there was something in that room that no one would have known. They wouldn't have, the police didn't release it, so it's not like they could have just found it on the internet and said, hey, I'm going to admit to this crime. So 26 years after JonBenet Ramsey was killed, police say DNA hasn't been ruled out to help solve the case. The 6-year-old was found dead in the basement of the family's Boulder, Colorado home on December 26, 1996. I've got over 200 pieces of paper here, so bear with me. The DNA, John Ramsey, I think last year has started trying to get the DNA, or had been trying to get the DNA from the police department to send it to an outside source to analyze, and they kept denying it, and finally the courts ruled for the police department to send it to the outside DNA thing so they could see the DNA or try to figure it out with those 23andMe things where they could use the DNA that was under her fingernails to see if they could find the match. Her death was ruled a homicide, but nobody was ever charged in this case. And still to this day, nobody's ever been charged or found guilty. August 7, 1998, claiming the district attorney's office is further compromised when one of the original detectives assigned to investigate the slaying of JonBenet Ramsey resigned in protest of this continuing travesty. Detective Steve Thomas, who had been on leave since late June 1998, tendered his resignation to the Boulder Police Department and accused the attorney, district attorney's office of sacrificing procedure for politics. In a letter, Thomas accused the district attorney's office of ignoring evidence collected by investigators, blocking police efforts to subpoena the parents' telephone and credit card records, and abruptly sharing details of the case with the Ramsey lawyers. On September 16, 1998, the Boulder County grand jurors began their investigation into the girl's slain. They learned about the forensic evidence, including analysis of handwriting, which I want to say right now, John Ramsey, that's who I lean towards that may have done this. Um, they said his was definitely, I would score 1 to 5, 5 being you're cleared and 1 being you're guilty. He had a 5, but now Patsy Ramsey had a 4.5. And I know it's only at half of a point, but still, there was a question there that made them say, hey, she's not totally cleared. They cleared her, but still 4.5. Investigation. They learned about forensic evidence, including analysis of handwriting, DNA, and hair and fibers found at the scene about a month into the investigation. The grand jurors toured the Ramsey home at the end of October. There's actually video of that. The investigation was granted at a 6-month extension in April 1988, 98, sorry. August 19, 1999, Thomas C. Miller, a Boulder lawyer who allegedly offered a handwriting expert $30,000 for a copy of the Ramsey's ransom note, which indicated on bribery was indicted on bribery charges. Authorities said he was buying the note on behalf of a large corporation, possibly a tabloid newspaper. Let me see if I can. Okay, let's see if we can go in there. Here's your warnings. And I don't know how people feel. I think this is a bit much to be doing to a child. She actually would, Patsy would dye her hair to get it blonde, or and as you can see the different colors of the blonde. And I don't know, this doesn't look like a 6-year-old little girl to me. This is the family. The body of JonBenet Ramsey was found in the family home in 1996. Authorities say the investigation is still priority. Been over 21,000 tips over the years, probably more than that by now. This is some of the ransom letter. That's the whole ransom letter. Apparently, it was found in that approximate area. I want you to look at this. Now, they said there was a ligature around just her right arm. This is showing from the coroner's office two. It was two. And then one around, excuse me, one around her neck. So it looked like if she moved her arms, it would choke her. But in the picture, which I'm not going to show, there is, it shows her neck and it's a ligature around it, and it looks so tight. It is unreal. Um, One of the suspects said something about a wire. They call it a cutter, apparently, and it's a wire garrote. And if that would have been used, it would have cut her that off. And these markings, like I said, could have been from the train set. This is the actual one. And if you look, it looks like a shoestring. It doesn't look like a rope to me. I mean, it could be. And this is the basement. They stated that there was a lot of little crooks and crannies where people could have hid. The suggestion that the parents did it. And I don't know what it is. As soon as I start recording, I start getting, you got to do that. There was like little crawl spaces and stuff that they're stating that he could have hit the body and then went down there and found her and all this. So I don't know. This is the basement. This is some drawings. This is the window that the person went into. I don't know if you've ever seen the homes where they got the parts built up, but it's like somebody would have had to been watching these people. Somebody would have had to know that to go in that window, to try these windows. Was there fingerprints on these windows? Why is it just this one? And I get it was broke and all that. But did they try to see if there was fingerprints on any of these windows when maybe they tried to get into it? Unless they knew that window was broke. This was the blanket that she was found wrapped up in. She's not in it. This is the pineapple and milk that they found in her small intestine. And it was not there whenever they got home from the party and she went to bed. You can see that, to me, you can see the marks on the wall. I have not seen, obviously, a life-size picture of this, but as a 6 foot tall person, I wouldn't have had to use the wall to get in there. I mean, but that's things you need to look at. How much distance is there from the window to the suitcase? How did the suitcase get there before the person got into the window? Or did they use the wall just to scoot down? Me, I would probably have just, jumped down because it's going to make a sound coming down that wall versus just one little thud. This was her at Christmas. People blaming cops, which I mean, it could have been handled differently. Okay, let me read a little bit more of this and then we'll move on to maybe the suspects. On October 3rd, 1999, the DA, Alex Hunter, announced that the grand jury had completed its work and that his team didn't think they had sufficient evidence to warrant filing charges. March 1st, 2000, the Ramseys provided their account of the death of their daughter in a book titled The Death of Innocence, the untold story of JonBenet Ramsey's murder and how its explication compromised the pursuit of truth. March 14th, 2000, JonBenet Ramsey's parents said they believe an intruder may have waited for hours in their home before strangling their daughter, according to transcripts of 2020 interview broadcasted on March 17th, 2000. Excuse me. Now, that's pretty gutsy. You gotta think that somebody would take the time to do a practice letter, then write the real ransom note, excuse me, and then go up to this little girl's room, get her, use a stun gun, which I don't know if y'all know about stun guns, but they do make a sound. Um, and then take her down to the basement, and in that room where they would have had to turn the lights on because the cops didn't see her body the first time, but had to turn the lights on and make this garage, or because I think it came from stuff that was in that room, or even if they brought it, and do, kill her. That's just a lot of time to be spending in a house that you don't know supposedly where people are, what's going on, routines, nothing else. So something's not right. March 14th, JonBenet Ramsey's parents say they believe an intruder may have waited. Okay, I read that. The Ramsey asked investigators to look to their inner circle to find her killer, such as someone who is familiar with the family and may be a pedophile. Pedo, I don't know if those words allowed on YouTube, but there it is. According to the transcripts released a few days later before the broadcast. CBS is getting in the true crime business by investigating the JonBenet Ramsey murder in an upcoming 6-book series, and this is back 2016. The 6-year-old daughter was found dead, in the home. Parents reported her kidnapped June 24th, 2006. Patsy Ramsey died of ovarian cancer at the age of 49. She was buried next to JonBenet in Marietta, Georgia. Attendees paid their respects to the graves of Patsy Ramsey and their daughter JonBenet during the services of Patsy Ramsey's at St. James Hospital Cemetery in Marietta, Georgia, Thursday, June 29th, 2006. August 2006, teacher is one of our suspects. Teacher John Mark Carr said he killed JonBenet Ramsey and was arrested in Thailand, but was ruled out as a suspect when his DNA failed to match that found at the scene. We'll see if they're going to test that DNA. We're going to see, because as an outsider, this is the one I'm putting money on. But I'm not sure it was an outsider. His brother Nate Carr told ABC News Good Morning America he was certain his brother spent Christmas 1996 when JonBenet Ramsey was slain with his family. John Mark Carr professed love for JonBenet Ramsey in emails. These are some crazy emails too. With a Colorado professor and told the California woman he believed that the girl was tortured before she was strangled, according to the AP. But he never confessed to the murder or anything else to suggest that he may have been involved in the death. He's the one that mentioned the wire being found next to her body and something to do with why didn't the cops mention it and the reports, why didn't, was it taken into evidence and all this, and how would he have known that? July 2008, District Attorney Marcy Lacey released a statement that said DNA discovered in the case had a genetic profile belonging to a male and did not belong to anyone in the Ramsey family. The Boulder District Attorney's Office does not consider any member of the Ramsey family, including John, Patsy, or Bert Ramsey, as suspects in this case. I just want to say that they went to a party previously that night, and if she didn't wash her hands or she didn't, take a bath, I don't know if that would even affect it, but you know, who all did she touch? Whose DNA could be up under there, and how are you going to rule it out as the killer versus her shaking hands with somebody, her giving Santa Claus a hug, her, just encountering people? In July 2011, John Ramsey remarried. Um, I think before, I think when he got married, he actually dated Natalie Holloway's mother. I found that out recently. But in July 2011, John Ramsey married. He wrote a book, The Other Side of Suffering, that recounts how his faith helped him navigate from suffering to forgiveness. October 23rd, 2013, a Colorado judge ordered the release of the 1999 grand jury indictment in the killing of JonBenet Ramsey, possibly shedding light on why prosecutors decided against charging her parents in the death. The papers were sealed in 1999. In the ruling, Senior District Judge J. Robert Monenbach said that the DA, Alex Hunter, prepared possible charges against John and Patsy Ramsey 3 years after their daughter's death. The indictment has remained sealed because Hunter decided not to pursue charges, but officials have never explained their decision. These are the first 3 suspects, and I believe were cleared. Santa Claus. Santa Claus said that no of those little girls give him a gift. She gave him this little container with glitter in it. And long story short, after when he died, they cremated him and they put the glitter. He wanted the glitter in with his remains, which was creepy in all areas. I don't care, killer or not, that's creepy. This was a neighbor. She was clear. There we go. There's the good old John Mark Carr. This was her underclothes. These underwear were actually, I think, one of her cousins, and she really liked them. So her mom had them put up on the top shelf because they were too big for her. And this is what she had on. And this was her little night clothes, I guess, that went over it. You can see where they took some DNA right there. But sadly, it looks like that she peed on herself. This is her grave. Okay. October 25th, 2013. The 1999 grand jury indictment papers were released. The court documents show that the grand jury sought to charge JonBenet Ramsey's parents with two counts of identical um, two identical counts. The grand jury alleged that John and Patsy Ramsey did permit the child to be unreasonably placed in a situation which posed a threat to the child's life or health, which resulted in the death of JonBenet Ramsey. The grand jury also alleged that each parent did render assistance to a person with the intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the discovery, detention, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, and punishment of such person for the commission of a crime, knowing the person being assisted had committed and was suspected of the crime of murder in first degree and child abuse resulting in death. The documents did not provide details on who that person was. June 26, 2016. Let's get out of this. June 22nd, 2016, Gary Olivia, the 52-year-old, was arrested and accused of downloading child bad pictures. After the Boulder Police Department received a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, a spokesman with the city of Boulder said that they haven't yet connected him to the Ramsey case. Police said that he may have been close to the Ramsey house on the night of the murder. When he was arrested on other charges back in 2000, police found a photo of Ramsey in his possession. Olivia admitted to having an obsession with the young beauty queen, police said. An investigation began into a possible connection. August 10th, 2016, Who Killed JonBenet is announced to air on Lifetime, and this was back in 2016, obviously. The original movie was one of the many that was released that year for the 20th anniversary, September 1st, 2016. The police chief in Boulder, Greg Testa, released a statement on JonBenet Ramsey's murder investigation, saying investigators will not give up. This statement came in response to several movies, documentaries, and a new book that was scheduled to be released over the following weeks regarding the case. Testa said, as of then, Boulder police had processed more than 1,500 pieces of evidence, analyzed more than 200 DNA, that's actually over 1,000 now, and interviewed more than 1,000 people. September 6, 2016, JonBenet Ramsey's brother, Burke Ramsey, spoke with Dr. Phil on the show titled JonBenet Ramsey's Brother Finally Breaks His Silence. What do secret interrogation tapes reveal? In the interview, he told Dr. P that he knew the family were suspects in the crime. He was 9 years old when his sister was killed. I know people think I did it, that my parents did it, he told Dr. P in the first television interview. I know that we were suspects. He said he told the police the interviews captured in 1998 police interrogation tapes that he never left his bedroom while people came into and out of the house because he was scared. He said he always believed that a who had seen the young girl perform at one of the beauty pageants sneaked into her house and murdered her. He said that he was speaking out then because he wanted to honor her memory. I don't want anyone to forget. Burke Ramsey ended the interview by saying the media would not hear from him again, and he planned to live a quiet life. A lot of people talk about his actions on that show. One, his mother was this beauty queen pageant person, and then turning JonBenet into one. So he's always going to have that smile. It's like the fake smile, you know. They have to have that winning smile on stage. And then they also say that he tested on the spectrum. So his actions are accounted for as far as the smiling and maybe not acting as concerned as he should. September 5th, 2016, A&E aired a special on the case titled The Killing of JonBenet, Truth Uncovered. JonBenet Ramsey was interviewed. John Ramsey, sorry, was interviewed. Oh my God, I want to tell you this. John Ramsey, and it was, let's see, Patricia Bennett Ramsey, and they mixed the John and Bennett together to get the JonBenet. These parents named their daughter after both of their names. They created a mixture of their names for her. Now, if they wanted to name the girl after the mother and the boy after their father, that would have been one thing. But this seems very, I don't know, maybe arrogant. I don't know. That they would create a name used from both of their middle names to name this child. The special that was aired, John Ramsey was interviewed in the special and described the heartbreaking details and dealing with the accusations from strangers that he and his wife were responsible for their daughter's death. Death would have been more of a welcome relief than the pain and agony I felt, he said. It took authorities 12 years to exonerate the Ramsey's family. The documentary revealed just how focused the Boulder police were on the Ramseys. It points to never before seen DNA report ordered a few days after the 1996 murder on the spot of blood found on JonBenet's underwear. The report to the Boulder police, seen here for the first time, made it clear that it did not come from John Ramsey or anybody in the family. The A&E documentary stated, it is the Boulder police that ignored the report and did not pass it off to the district attorney's office for months. Evidence DNA analyst in the film said that Cruzio was an intruder was responsible for the murder. September 18th through 19th of 2016, a mini-series on the case airs on CBS titled The Case of JonBenet Ramsey. CBS teams have hired investigators to look into the case and review the 911 tape that kept rolling after Patsy Ramsey believed that she had hung up. Okay, I listened to the tape and I don't know what she's saying. I don't know if she's saying to go upstairs. I don't know if it's just hurry, hurry, hurry. That's what it honestly sounds like to me. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Like she's going down. But the one thing that I didn't like about the 911 case is go through and breathe the way that she's breathing and see how long you last. Her breathing is very, I don't know. If you get her adrenaline rush, she probably could breathe like that and it'd be okay. But just to, be breathing like that, you're going to pass out. But that's for another show. On the phone, the team believed that they had heard John Ramsey say, we're not speaking to you, and Patsy Ramsey say, what did you do? I'm assuming talking to her. I didn't hear that though. CBS investigators say that, and I do have an app that I'm going to use to separate that. It'll separate her talking versus background noise, so it'll clear it up some. CBS investigators said that they believe they were speaking to JonBenet Ramsey's brother, Bert Ramsey. CBS teams recreated a life-size version of JonBenet's house and performed their own investigation using reports from the night of the murder. They ruled out the possibility of an intruder breaking into the home based on the evidence they collected, including police reports found around the time of the murder. The miniseries ended by revealing that CBS investigators believe Bert Ramsey killed his sister. Dr. Warner Spitz is a renowned forensic pathologist who was featured on the miniseries, said he agreed with that conclusion. I don't know. I don't think that young man did it. I don't think he would have enough strength. You would see this cord around her neck. I don't think that he had enough strength to do that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Um, if you really use your free time to think about this case, you cannot come up with a different conclusion, Stitt said. It was the boy who did it. September 22nd, 2016, former Colorado Governor Bill Owens, who was the governor from 1999 to 2017.
I think you do that shit purposely, dude. You can hear every bit of it, and I already sound like the idiot and have to keep clearing my throat. And then here you come in with your shenanigans.
I thought there was a recording.
No. Why would I tell you be quiet if it was recording? You don't ever know anything, do you?
No.
Whatever. I'm starting to record it again, so get your ass in the fucking bed. Put my pillows over there. You want me to do my back your back before I start recording again?
That'd be nice.
Let me smoke a cigarette real quick.
Oh.
I've got 20 more minutes of this recording, and then I can stop and start it when I won't not have to worry about it. Because I can't get this one downloaded correctly to put up on my page. So I'm just going back and doing the thing. I've got more investigation to do anyway. I'm going to need a code in the morning. If you'll be quiet, I can do 5 more minutes of my thing. Huh? See, you won't have to worry about that whenever we get our house because our bathroom is in our room. I'm gonna start it.
Published a post on Facebook where it said he had strong views on who killed JonBenet for a number of reasons having to do with then the responsibility as governor of Colorado. I have closely followed and was even to some extent involved in the aftermath of the tragic JonBenet Ramsey murder case, he wrote. I have, over the years, talked to many of those who were part of the investigation, and based on those discussions, have my own strong views concerning who killed JonBenet. He did not say who he believed killed the child, but commended CBS for their excellent research, investigation, and reporting the case of JonBenet Ramsey. October 6, 2016, Burke Ramsey filed a defamation suit against Dr. Warner Spitz, a forensic pathologist in Michigan, featured in the miniseries on the case that aired on CBS in September 2016. The complaint alleged that Spitz said a 9-year-old Burke Ramsey bludgeoned JonBenet to death in 1996. Burke sought $150 million in damages. November 5th, 2016, Lifetime aired the previous announced who killed JonBenet documentary following a special called JonBenet's Mother, Victim or Killer. In the latter documentary, two detectives questioned if Patsy Ramsey wrote the ransom note. One detective said that there were similarities in the mother's handwriting and the writing on the ransom note. December 13, 2016, investigate journalist Paula Woodward, who had covered this case since it started, shared new findings in her book. Everybody's got a book. We Have Your Daughter, The Unsolved Mystery of JonBenet Ramsey, 20 years later. The book's title is a nod to the ransom note found in the Ramsey home. Woodward said that she did not have a definitive answer nor an opinion on who killed JonBenet. Who wrote the ransom note? Why was the ransom note so long? What was it all about? Why is it signed SBTC? She said in 2016. There are all kinds of bits of misinformation that we have been fed by law enforcement that aren't true. There were no forced entries into the house yet. There were 7 different ways into the house. There were beauty pageants. There were wealthy family from Boulder. They were a wealthy family from Boulder, Colorado, seeming very happy when terrible murder happens. Any piece of evidence you look at, you can take it either way. Was it the Ramseys or was it an intruder? In the book, Woodward shared exclusive interviews with the Ramsey family members. Patsy Ramsey shared intimate details with Woodward before she died of cancer. Woodward was told to keep the conversations private until after Patsy's death. The book also detailed mistakes authorities made at the scene of the murder from the first hour through the following days. Woodward described herself as a very pro law enforcement, but she said she could not ignore what she had learned in her research. The police at the DA's office deliberately leaked false stories to the media, and then the media was at fault for not double checking today, CNN today. And the second major, just do it. Here's one side, here's the other side, she said. For example, she said, what's that she said? Police told journalists that Patsy Ramsey had never given DNA, but she had. The information leaked to the media by the law enforcement set this case off into a anti-Ramsey, and that's what I wanted to correct, the inaccuracies. I don't have a position, but I do want to be accurate, Woodward said. Woodward had sat down with the Denver 7 News Channel Investigates to discuss some of the unanswered questions that still remain as of January 2021. December 14, 2016, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation announced that they would test certain pieces of evidence for DNA in the case. The last time any evidence was tested for DNA was the fall of 2008, which the results were inconclusive. December 16, 2016, ABC News 2020 aired the episode. And they actually refer to it as the girl's death. Imagine that. December 26th, this will be the anniversary. 2016, that will be 20 years since she had passed and was found dead in her parents' home. While no one's still been arrested, Boulder police say the investigation is continuing. December 28, 2016, Burke Ramsey sued CBS Corporation and multiple people involved in the network special, The Case of JonBenet Ramsey, which aired on September 2016. The lawsuit alleged that the entire piece had been designed from the start to pin the murder on Burke Ramsey. The lawsuit claimed that more than 18.6 million viewers watched the combined days of the special report, leading to $750 million in damages against Burke Ramsey. He sought $250 million in damages to his reputation and $500 million in punitive damages. He settled outside of court with four other media outlets that pointed their fingers at him in the specials and documentaries. Burke Ramsey's legal team has been able to prove their points with a 12-page list of what they call key facts about the murder of JonBenet and the law enforcement investigation. In January 2018, the judge declined to dismiss the defamation lawsuit. April 28, 2017, a new film that aired aimed to examine the JonBenet murder for a new perspective premiered on Netflix. It is called Casting JonBenet. It's told the story of a 6-year-old's death from the perspective of people who were auditing for the roles of those involved in the case for the documentary. It debuted at the Sundance Film Festival in Utah in January 2018. October 11, 2017, the father of JonBenet filed a lawsuit against CBS and the people involved with the two-part special about the unsolved murder that aired on September 2016. This came less than a year after his son, Burke Ramsey, did the same. CBS, The Case of JonBenet Ramsey, events the theory that JonBenet Ramsey was killed in 1996 by her brother. January 4, 2019, the $750 million defamation lawsuit filed against CBS by the brother of JonBenet Ramsey was settled. The terms of the settlement were not disclosed. A spokesman for the producers of the TV program said that in the statement, an amicable resolution of their differences has been reached. January 12, 2020, police in Boulder dismissed a convicted confession to the murder of JonBenet, and said that he claimed he had already been investigated. Gary Olivia, now remember that's the blonde-headed neighbor that we seen a minute ago that was cleared, was arrested on June 22nd, 2016 on unrelated charges, but later admitted to killing JonBenet by accident in letters to a high school classmate, according to the AP. He wrote, "I never loved anyone like I did JonBenet, and yet I let her slip, and her head bashed in half, and I watched her die. It was an accident, please believe me. She was not like the other kids," according to the AP. However, the Boulder Police Department released a statement that appeared to refute the claims made by Olivia, who had made similar claims in the past. December 20th, 2021, about a week ahead of the 25th anniversary of JonBenet's death, the Boulder Police Department said they processed more than 1,500 pieces of evidence tied to the case, including analysis of almost 1,000 pieces of DNA samples. Since the young girl was reported missing, the Boulder Police Department Major Crimes Unit has received and reviewed more than 21,000 tips, letters, emails. Detectives have visited 19 states to interview more than 1,000 people connected to the crime. The Boulder Police Department is working closely with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation on future DNA advancements. New DNA samples are checked in the system regularly for any new matches. As the department continues to use technology to enhance the investigation, it is actively reviewing genetic DNA testing processes to see if those can be applied to the case moving forward. A police spokesman, Donnie Rowe, said she could not comment whether the policy investigation was still active and ongoing. And there was a candlelight vigil every December for JonBenet. May 2nd, 2022, an online petition with more than 2,000 signatures asked the Colorado Governor Jared Polis to step in and move the JonBenet Ramsey case from the Boulder Police Department to a new agency. The change.org petition filed by the group called Justice for JonBenet Ramsey calls on Polis to have the case moved to from the Boulder Police Department to another investigative agency to look into the DNA technology. This is what I was talking about. The dad was wanting the DNA tested by someone else. JonBenet Ramsey deserves justice, and new advances in DNA technology finally make that possible. Colorado Governor Jared Polis, you are the only person with enough power and independence in the state to put Ramsey DNA testing decisions in the hands of a new agency that's free from the Boulder significant history with the case. A spokesman from the governor's office confirmed that the state was aware of the petition as they're looking and is looking into how the state can assist in using new technology to move the investigation forward to identify the killer. November 10th, 2022, the Boulder Police Department announced that in 2023, they would consult with the Colorado case review team as it continues to work with the JonBenet Ramsey case. Boulder Police Department will start working with CBI, which is Colorado's Bureau of Investigation Cold Case Review Team. Then the Colorado's Cold Case Review Team was created in 2009. CBI created it as an additional tool for the agencies investigating cold cases. The team is made of professional investigators, analytical and forensic experts from across the state, according to the CBI, and they typically meet 2 to 4 times a year. Authorities said the amount of DNA evidence that was collected at the crime scene is still available for analysis, is small, and could be completely consumed by testing. Discussions are ongoing with CBI and FBI and private DNA labs about the viability of continued testing of the DNA. January 3rd, 2023, John Ramsey recently sent a letter to the governor requesting an in-person meeting and help in solving his daughter's murder. I am 78 now and realize that for answers, time is running out. The murder of my daughter could never be undone. There will never be peace or closure, but there can be and should be justice. Excuse me. Ramsey said to the governor. Ramsey said the governor responded to his letter, calling it the first communication he had ever had from the state. Gave us certainly some indication that would like to help move the case along, Ramsey said. There was no commitments, but I was encouraged. Denver said that also reached out to the governor's office, which said the governor recently requested a briefing from the Colorado Department of Public Safety on this matter. Public Safety at CBI has consulted with the Boulder Police and came to the same conclusion. And I just want to put this out there. If anybody has any information on this case, please call the tip line at 303-441-1974. or email them at Boulder's Most Wanted at bouldercolorado.gov. And you can always call the Northern Colorado Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477 or no county crime, no c it's no co crimestoppers.com. If anybody has any information to go along with this, I'm going to stop this recording right now. We'll get into the suspects on the next one and go through the ransom letter. I have a copy of it to where I'm going to read everything that was written in it.
Okay, today we're going to start out with the autopsy report. I'm just going to kind of skim over it, the ligature simulation, circling frontal ligature with associated ligature, furrow of the neck, abrasions, hemorrhages in the neck. The eyes had hemorrhages. There was a scalp contusion, cranial cerebral. There was a small abrasion on her right cheek, small contusions. There was abrasion that was posterior right shoulder, abrasion lower left back, posterior lower leg, abrasion and vascular congestion of vagina mucus, ligature of the right wrist. Obviously, there was no drugs, unless somebody drugged her. I'm gonna kind of read some of it, but not all of it. The body of this 6-year-old female was first seen by me, that was the coroner or the pathologist, after I was called to the address to identify as 755 15th Street in Boulder, Colorado on December 26, 1996. I arrived at the scene approximately 8 p.m. on 12/26 and entered the house where the decedent's body was located at approximately 8:20. Initially viewed I initially viewed the body in the living room of the house. The decedent was laying on her back on the floor, covered with a blanket and a Colorado Avalanche sweatshirt. On removing these two items from the top of the body, the decedent was found to be laying on her back with her arms extended up over her head. The head was turned to the right. A brief examination of the body disclosed a ligature around her neck and a ligature around her right wrist. Also noted was the small area of abrasion and contusion below her right ear. And that would, I think, be the quote unquote stun gun thing parts. After examining the body, I left the residence at approximately 8:30. The external examination. The decedent is clothed in long sleeve white knit collarless shirt. The mid anterior chest area, which contains an embroidered silver star decorated with silver sequins, tied loosely around the right wrist, overlay the sleeve of the shirt is a white cord. At the knot, there is one trail end which measures 5.5 inches in length, which is it has a frayed end. The other trail or tail of the knot measures 15.5 inches in length and ends in a double loop knot. This end of the cord is also frayed. There are no defects noted in the shirt, but the upper anterior right sleeve contains dried brown tan stain measuring 2.5, 1.5 inches by 1.5, consistent with mucus from the nose or mouth. There are long white underwear an elastic waistband containing the crotch area and anterior legs. No defects are identified. Beneath the long underwear are white panties with printed rosebuds and the words Wednesday on the elastic waistband. The underwear is urine stained, and in the inner aspect of the crotch area, several red areas of staining measures up to 0.5 inch in maximum dimension. She had peculiar hemorrhage of the eyes. She was wrapped around the neck was a double knot in the middle one of the posterior neck is the length of the white cord, similar to that described as being tied around the right wrist. A wooden stick had the word Korea on it. It was a paintbrush. The unembalmed, well-developed, and well-nourished Caucasian female measures 47 inches in length and weighs an estimated 45 pounds. The scalp is covered by long blonde hair, which is fixed in two ponytails, one at the top of her head secured by a cloth hair tie and blue elastic band, and the other is the lower back of her head secured by a blue elastic band. No scalp trauma is identified. The external auditory canals are patent, patent and free of blood. The eyes are green and the pupils are equally dilated. The sclerae are white. I'm assuming the white part of her eye. The nostrils are both patent, patent and contain a small amount of tan mucus material. The teeth are native and in good repair. The tongue is smooth, pink, tan, and granular. mucus. They weighed the body. Just so you know, once they do an autopsy, they put your organs in a black bag and shove them up in your ribs. Fun fact. Everything obviously is in good shape with her. And that's the end of the report. I thought there would be like a diagram. That's why. But let's look at the brain real quick. Sections from the area of the contusion disclose disrupted blood vessels of the cortex with surrounding hemorrhage. There is no evidence inflammatory infiltrate or organization of the hemorrhage. Subbarnoil, I don't know, hemorrhage is also identified. Cortical neurons are surrounded by the clear halos and are glial cells. Lydia, I don't know. It's late and I don't care. Okay. Okay, obviously the first suspect was Patsy. She eventually was cleared, then the father was cleared, and then the brother was cleared. Um, there's also a town drifter. His name is Gary Olivia. He was 32 years of age. He was a known sex offender in Boulder, Colorado. When JonBenet was found strangled to death in what looked like a potential sexual assault, given that there was droplets of blood on the underwear, the convicted pedo had been living in the area on and off when when police allegedly found a magazine cutout of JonBenet Ramsey in his backpack after he was apprehended on drug charges in 2000. He was soon released, but suspicions remained. The Ramsey family's longtime private investigator, Oli Gray, once referred to Olivia's ties to JonBenet as a bombshell arrest in the case and lambasted the Boulder Police Department for failing to consider him as more credible suspect. Soon after, Olivia's high school friend Michael Vale stepped forward with alleged supporting Gary's suspicion. Vale claimed that not long after the murder, a distraught Olivia had called him on the phone and confessed to his longtime pal that he had hurt a little girl. He said, I hurt a little girl. I hurt a little girl. Bill revealed to In Touch magazine earlier in that year that he was particularly unsettled by how the knots used to fashion the garrote that strangled JonBenet were similar to those of the incident where Olivia attempted to choke his mother with a telephone cord. My blood ran cold when I read that, recalled Vale of his troubled childhood. Olivia was rumored to have possible connections to theory that links the marks found on JonBenet's body to encounter with the stun gun Olivia had on him at the time of his arrest. While he too was cleared by DNA of the JonBenet Ramsey murder, he recently was charged with 2 counts of sexual exportation of a child for possessing child pictures. He was last reported by the Denver Post to have been arrested in June and held on a $100,000 bond and is scheduled to appear in court later that fall. The electrician. This is one that's very odd. Another potential suspect, according to Ollie Gray, was the electrician named Michael Helgoff, who worked in nearby salvage yard. He actually worked there with his uncles. Um, Gary or Gray referred to Helgoff as the Hellraiser, tied to the alleged property dispute involving the Ramseys. Could that have been have served as a possible motivation to seek revenge on the family's kidnapped JonBenet. It had been speculated that once the 26-year-old Hogarth caught wind that he could be a suspect in the case, officials found a boot print allegedly similar to his near the Ramsey home. He committed suicide before anyone could get to him. His death occurred 2 days after 1997 press conference announcing that the Boulder Police Department DA was zeroing in on a new suspect. However, Helgoth remains cleared by DNA and his death. The school teacher. This is good old Mark. John Mark Carr. In 2006, a former school teacher, John Mark Carr, confessed out of the blue to the 1996 strangulation of JonBenet Ramsey in graphic sexual detail. Carr was arrested in Thailand, where he'd be living on the lam after facing child P charges in the U.S. The now 51-year-old initially brought himself into the mess by reaching out to the University of Colorado Boulder professor named Michael Tracy over emails in regards to a documentary Tracy was making on the case. One of those emails took a disturbing turn, revealing that the grown man's sexual fantasy with JonBenet. Tracy reported Carr to the police, who arrested him in Bangkok as a possible suspect. He was immediately flown to the Boulder Police Department for questioning, but was ultimately cleared by DNA that failed to match the profile of the unknown male found on the waistband of JonBenet's long johns. Carr's demented confession involved a series of diary entries allegedly written from the scene of the crime. In one dramatic account, Carr recalls strangling JonBenet in a love game gone wrong. Close your eyes, pretty sweetheart, reads the excerpt, and the Carr repeatedly refers to her as Daxus. Daxus loves you so much. Oh God, I love you, JonBenet, and my lover's eyes are slowly closing. Carr's alleged involvement involvement broke international headlines, and his earnest insistence on having killed her was enough to set off the media fiasco. However, he was ultimately dismissed as a suspect altogether and written off as a pedophile who, after notoriety of fame, officials also failed to verify that the Boulder Police Department, according to a 2010 report in the Daily Beast, the one suspect is now living under a new identity and a new gender in Pacific Northwest. Just for the record, for the people that know, my chair went to the Pacific Islands or to the Pacific Northwest. So he might have my damn chair. Linda Hoffman Powell had worked for the family as their housekeeper. Oh, the housekeeper. She's the next one. I just want to say this is going to be so long. There's so much. I might just stop this in a little bit and upload it and then upload another one tomorrow. But the housekeeper, Linda Hoffman Powell, had worked for the family as their housekeeper, and her husband, Mervyn, was their handyman. So it wasn't surprising when they were known to carry a key to the home. And during the investigation of JonBenet Ramsey's murder, Hoffman and Powell didn't even begin to fit the profile the police were after. White male, former convict, 25 to 30 years old, but she did not hold back on voicing her suspicions that Patsy Ramsey had accidentally killed JonBenet. That said, Patsy claimed the investigators that Huffman Powell was struggling for money and had asked them for a loan of several $1,000s, which the Ramseys had declined. Police showed up at the Powell's home the night after the murder and asked the 57-year-old housekeeper who wanted her to write the number 180,000 on a piece of paper and reportedly took her fingerprints and several strands of her hair. She then testified in front of a grand jury for a total of 8 hours, including a statement against Patsy that read, I think she had multiple personalities. She seemed to be in a good mood and then she'd be cranky. She got into arguments with JonBenet and wearing a dress or about a friend coming over. I had never seen Patsy so upset. The Hoffman Powell theory asserted that the housekeeper led the trusting JonBenet downstairs into the basement that night in an attempt to trick her employers into leaving the money for ransom. It's possibility that she could have seen John Ramsey pay stub for $180,000 as a holiday bonus and chosen that as her demand. Familiar with both the home and with the family schedule, Huffman Powell makes a convenient suspect, and without an alibi, she was asleep in bed with her husband allegedly, and her husband allegedly slept on the couch. Sorry. There is room to speculate she could have been involved. So far, all the evidence implicating her in the case is circumstantial at best, and she has never been formally charged of this crime. The town Santa. Oh, Santa. He used to be such a good guy. Bill McReynolds, now deceased, was a friend of the Ramseys who dressed up as Santa Claus the week before JonBenet Ramsey's murder to entertain the neighborhood children at one of Patsy's famous Christmas gatherings. While an older man dressed up as Santa makes a pretty good perk in a sexualized child murder, the possibility that now deceased McReynolds had anything to do with JonBenet's death extremely unlikely. McReynolds was rumored to have paid too little attention to JonBenet, going as far as to arrange a secret, rumored to have paid a little too much attention to JonBenet, going as far to arrange a secret visit from Santa Claus on Christmas. Supposedly, he had chosen JonBenet to be his special friend, going so far as to bring her a vial of glitter that she gifted to him. She gave him the vial of glitter, and the 6-year-old with him into heart surgery. He took that in with him for heart surgery. Even stranger, he asked his wife to mix the gold glitter with his ashes after he was dead. This particular story generated buzz in the Denver Post, but failed to amount to anything more than sensationalized character assassination of a friendly old man. Okay, I'm going to stop it here. I may start again, or I may just end this one and upload it. So we'll see in a minute.
The front of the home makes the house look much smaller than it is. It is a massive home, 7,000 square feet. The size comes from its length and height. It stretches back and upward on the lot. There are 4 floors in this home. JonBenet's body was found in this corner of the basement of the home. Her bedroom is here on the 2nd floor. This is the balcony outside her bedroom. Inside it is all white. It was a very colorful room with wall hangings, toys, stuffed animals, a bright colored bedspread. This is JonBenet's bathroom. Next to the bathroom is the door leading directly from her bedroom to the balcony. To put some perspective, JonBenet's bedroom is behind and above me. On the other end of the house is above Brooke's bedroom, is where her parents' bed was. Shown from the outside of the home, this is JonBenet's bedroom. Across the house, on the 2nd floor, on the east end of the home, is Brooke's room, a room partially covered with wallpaper that has model airplanes. Above Brooke's room is Patsy and John Ramsey's bedroom. Their bedroom stretched across most of the 3rd floor. Their bed was here, the opposite end of the house from their daughter's bedroom. The morning of December 26th, Patsy Ramsey says she walked from her bed and across the master bedroom, down the back staircase from 3rd to 2nd floor. At this point, she was a few steps from JonBenet's bedroom. She continued from the 2nd floor to the 1st floor on the spiral staircase. Patsy Ramsey told police she found the ransomate on one of the bottom steps of the spiral staircase. This is the much talked about spiral staircase in the Ramsey home. There are 9 outside doors in the Ramsey home. There are 104 windows, 100 of them open to the outside.
There are a variety of locks on the doors and windows in the Ramsey home. JonBenet Ramsey walked down these stairs from the main floor to the basement. The killer turned right onto a small landing and then walked straight ahead to a room at the end of the hall. There was a plywood board here after it was a door. JonBenet's body was found in this room. It is roughed out concrete from floor to ceiling. Her mouth and wrists were wrapped in duct tape. There was a knot of rope around her neck. John Ramsey found his daughter's body in this room. He carried her up these stairs to the living room. The living room was the gathering place for the family and the police. A Christmas tree this year, decorations, the police, Patsy and John Ramsey, friends, and JonBenet. Holiday group 9 noon.
See if you can hear what she says.
Today we're going to be attempting audio restoration. And there's what we would call a tonal. So that's a very brief explanation of how the program works. And
honey.
noise is an inherent factor in the original recording medium, which makes it a little more problematic. But that's enough about tape. Let's keep going through.
911 police. What's going on? What's going on there, ma'am? We were kidnapped. Hurry, please explain to me what's going on, okay? Yeah, there's a note left in our daughter's door. A note was left in your daughter's door? Yeah. How old is your daughter? 6 years old. She's 4. 6 years old. How long is it?
Okay, so we have the introduction of the first of the sort of questionable.
Oh my God, please. Okay. I am, honey. Take a deep breath. Okay. Kathy.
Okay, now,
Okay, that in here is where she's supposed to, I guess, say something because you can hear her say hurry, hurry. And supposedly she's saying something right here. I don't know. I feel that she was probably asking, had he looked somewhere? You know, it's hard to say where what she was saying. You know, I don't know if we'll know. We can try to clear it up though. I am going to end this one right now, and then we'll pick up again tomorrow and start from a 911 call. I'll get just a straight 911 call, and we'll listen to it repeatedly and see if we can figure out what she says at the end. And I'll try to pull up that app that I have that clears up stuff and separates back noise and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and go. Thank you, and I will see you later.